Hi, guys, this is Andrew, and I wanted to do this recording for a while, but I was trying to think as to how I wanted to put this together, which is why some people succeed whereas other people fail. And so what I decided was I wanted to break it down into kind of two pieces as I started thinking about it, putting some thoughts together, which is what are the specific things that make somebody successful, and why is it that other people at the same time fail? Because I truly feel that it's not a fair world that we live in. It never has been fair. If you are well off, the chances of you being even more well off, or as they say, the rich get richer, it's true. And it always has been. So you have to I really think about it this way. So it's like if a plane is already in air, it doesn't require as much energy to basically keep going or keep going faster. To go faster, all the engines have to do is just turn it up just a bit, a notch. But yet, to get it off the ground, it requires a lot of force, a lot of support, a lot of things. And I think success, failure, whenever you're starting out, or if you want to kind of ramp up what you're doing at a very high level, or go from a place where you're not maybe financially to where you want to be, that's going to require a lot of energy, a lot of momentum, and a lot more things have to happen. But yet, there were some key things that I think that separate people where we're talking about success as it relates to real estate versus failure. But when we talk about this subject, a couple thoughts came up. So, before I go any further, I also want to kind of just put this out there, which is that I am 100% clear on the fact that success is not just in terms of business. There's physical, how you are in terms of your own physical being. Number two, emotional. Are you healthy emotionally? What about your family? And what about your spiritual? So those are things that are besides business. But I don't feel that I am in any way capable of kind of trying to answer those subjects or even get into that, because it'll just get out of the bounds of this particular recording. The only thing I want to say is this, that at some point in our lives, different things are more important than others. What I mean by that is if you're just starting out, it's going to be more, you're in college, or you're going to college, or you're just finishing college. At that time, as you're getting your career set and just beginning your life, at that time doing well, being financially stable, building a career for yourself, kind of having a path that you want to go on is way more important, because most of the times at that age, most people are going to be physically okay. Now, some may not be, but most people are going to be okay physically. May not be in the best shape. Maybe emotionally, that's a very highly charged period because you're not sure what your life is about to bring. Family-wise, you might not be as, if you don't have kids, if you're not married, you might not be as focused on that part of it. You want to probably get yourself settled first. And then spiritual, when you're in college, for a lot of people, that's far from what some people are thinking. Yet others, they're more focused already at that point in terms of spiritually, in terms of where they want to be emotionally, and maybe business is something more important at that time. So it depends on where you are in your life, what is your age group, what is going on in your life, that all those things are going to be more or less important, and your importance will change at different stages and at different places of your life. So I am well clear of that, but I just wanted to just touch on that because some people are going to think, well, all Andrew's talking about is just business. But for this recording, I'm just going to talk about business as it relates to real estate, and success versus failure as it relates to real estate. So why am I doing this recording? The reason for doing this recording is because this is a thought that I have had since I was a kid. I've always been fascinated by the subject of what makes somebody succeed, what makes somebody achieve a high level of success. And a lot of times, a lot of it, at least for me, was looking at somebody else and looking at what they had, the possessions, and thinking that, okay, that is success. Maybe the cars, maybe the house, maybe all the stuff that you can own, I relate it to success. Now, as you mature, the definition of success will change. So, and more so than anything else. So, the reason for doing this recording, I think, is this is a message to myself, in terms of to think about on this subject and to act on it as we go into the next year. So, and maybe some of you will relate to some of these thoughts. And just because I'm doing the recording does not make me an authority on this subject. I think what it makes me is it makes me a fellow traveler on this journey of success. Because what I've come to believe is this: success is a journey and not a destination. I used to think early on in my life that success was a destination, which is once I achieve this, once I make this, I'm successful and boom, I've arrived. Yet, once you achieve something, guess what happens? Now you feel vacant. Now you're like, okay, I'm not chasing anything. I'm not going after something. And what I have come to realize is that it is a process and it is a journey. So I certainly, in my own personal life, if somebody says, well, Andrew, are you successful? Honestly, I don't think I'm successful. Yes, have I had some successes at certain places in my life? Absolutely. As it relates to real estate, have I had some successes? I would say absolutely, because I feel that compared to maybe 99.5% of the successes a lot of people may enjoy or may not enjoy, I'm kind of ahead at a certain place. Yet, do I consider myself successful? I would say far from it. And I would say that I'm way far from where I really want to be, or the journey that I'm on. So in the last 10 years, I've kind of had a chance to meet a lot of people, go through a lot of the growth pains in terms of what has happened in my own business. And I think some of the conclusions I've come to, maybe some of you will relate to this. So as we start that, what is success versus what is failure? Because that is a big thing, because there's more books written on the subject of success, on the subject of how to be successful, and so on and so forth. So the first question that comes up is, what is success? And a definition that I heard maybe when I was 20 years old, 21 years old, I used to listen to all these motivational recordings all the time to seek answers of how to be successful. And the definition that I heard that I've always liked, that went something like this. It was by a guy by the name of Earl Nightingale, one of the forefathers of motivation. And in one of his recordings called The Strangest Secret, what he says is, success is the progressive realization of a worthwhile goal or dream. So let me repeat that. It's a success is the progressive realization of your worthwhile goal or dream. And the reason he added the words worthwhile is if somebody asked him, well, a person who runs is a successful drug dealer, is that a worthwhile, is that a successful person? He says, well, no, because that does not add anything to the society, and hence it should be a worthwhile goal or dream where not only you feel successful, but you're making the society as such better in your own way. So somebody might say, well, I have 2 houses, 4 houses, 8 houses, 10 houses, and I reached my goal. So does that make me successful? Or somebody else might say, I have 20 houses, 40 houses, 100 houses, and I'm successful. Does that make me a success, or does that make me a failure? So over time, I've kind of revised that definition of success, because I don't know, maybe you were like me, and maybe you can just relate to this thought, which is that as we grow up, we all have certain dreams, certain aspirations, certain things that we want. We'll see something, we'll see somebody perform, we'll see somebody play basketball or football or whatever you're into in that particular time of your life. Or when you're a kid, a lot of people want to be a fireman, they want to be a pilot, they want to be a lot of these things that we think about as we're kids, as we're growing up. But over time, what happens is we just realize it's just a fad. It's just something that at that particular moment in time, we had those thoughts. But that's not something that you are really all about. So what is success? See, success to me is a God-given ability to achieve that one particular thing that God put in you. So here's what my belief is. Now, some people might say, well, I don't believe in God. What about me? Well, I believe that universe, or God, in my case, I believe that not talking about religion, but specifically that there is a higher human being that has, there's a higher power, I should say, that has put an ability, and each of us has an innate ability to do something better and bigger than anybody else. The problem with this ability is this, that nobody else knows about that ability. Nobody else sees that ability. The only person that sees that particular ability or that innate thing that only you have is you. And I don't know about you, but I know about me that even when I was dead broke, when I had nothing, even at that time, there was something that kept me up at night. There was this desire, this passion to do something, to achieve something, to go somewhere in life. And that has never changed. It didn't change when I was completely broke, to when I made a little bit of money, to when I bought 2 houses, 4 houses, 10 houses, 12 houses, because that ability, that thing deep down inside, keeps coming up all the time. And that is what I feel we all have. Now, for some people, they feel that they picked real estate as a vehicle. See, I don't think real estate is something that you pick. I think real estate picks you. See, for some person, for Mozart, it wasn't that he picked music as his way of communicating what he wanted to communicate by making beautiful music. See, I feel that was an ability that he was born with. He was just fortunate enough to realize what that ability was. And then he spent his entire life pursuing that one particular thing. So I think success is living up to the potential that you were given, and only you know. Because otherwise what happens is this. Most human beings live lives of quiet desperation. What do I mean by that? See, by quiet desperation, what I mean by that is this, that on the outside, they may seem happy, they may seem fulfilled, they may seem really excited and as an achiever. But deep down inside, they know that as it relates to what they can achieve, what they can really do, what the difference that they can make, that if they're not reaching those goals, then all the success, maybe it's a fancy car, a fancy house, fulfilling kids, all that stuff, there is a piece of you that is still missing inside. And that is something that I realized probably by the time I was maybe 19 or 20 years old, was that I didn't know why I thought the way I did, but I knew I clearly thought very different than all my friends in college. All my friends in college were happy going out, partying, and having a great time. That's what you're supposed to do when you're in college. I just happened never to think that way. I don't know why. My parents necessarily didn't put that in me. My parents were happy if I got great grades, and if I basically became a professional, my parents would be exceptionally happy. They just said one thing, which is that do the very best at whatever you choose to do. And I don't know where this thought process started happening, but I always wanted to speak in front of people. I wanted to communicate, and I was deathly afraid. And what happened was over the years, trying to find out how do I become successful, because I was obsessed by this thought is, how do I become successful? And by success to me at that age I was a broke kid. And so the deal was I wanted to basically make a lot of money and prove to my parents that, guess what, I was somebody. That was the only thing I really cared about. And it happened to be I would read a lot of books on investing, on motivation, on all this other stuff. The one thing that I kept always coming back to was real estate. Now, that was for me. For you, it might be something completely different. Now, this is what I'm supposed to be studying for college classes, and I'm reading all these books and all this other stuff, and then real estate kept coming back. But I felt that I had ideas, I had beliefs, I had a thought process that I always wanted to share. And I don't know where real estate came from. See, today I realize is this, that real estate was a medium that that basically took me from point A to point B to point C and so on and so forth. And that created a podium and a stage for me to be able to express my ideas. So I was able to take real estate, succeed at it at a certain level, and then I was excited about sharing that particular passion and excitement that I was doing about real estate with other people. And then other people thought, oh my God, maybe these ideas have some merit, and maybe they may work for me as well as in their lives as they have worked for me. And so I didn't realize that real estate was a medium to get from point A to point B to what I love to do, which is be able to share the thoughts and ideas. Because I never had a clue as to how I would have any thought or anything to say that would have any meaning for somebody else so that they could improve their lives. I mean, think about this. You're 20 years old, 22 years old, 25 years old, 30 years old. Unless you have some achievement somewhere or some ideas that are so profound, why are people going to listen to you? See, for me, real estate was a way of me starting to share what I was doing through real estate to be able to get to a point where I could communicate and express the thoughts I wanted to express. Because that to me is, I would do sharing and speaking the message, which is how you can do well for yourself using real estate, was the message that I love to share, because I feel real estate is the greatest equalizer there ever exists and there ever has throughout history, because he who owns the most land in the long run always wins. Now, I know people today will say, well, Andrew, you don't understand, the economy is different. Guys, here's the bottom line. He who owns the most stuff, which is land at the end of the day, and if it's free and clear and paid off, guess what? You're going to be better off than not. And real estate for me was a medium. So as I talk about success versus failure, what I want to come back to is that what is it for you that keeps you up at night? And for every single person, it's something different. Now, somebody might say, well, what do you mean? Like literally keep you up? See, I believe for a lot of people, there is something that is bugging you. And some people come to real estate because they're like, well, this is a good way to make money. It's a phenomenal way to make money, right? But for you really to succeed at a very high level, see, this is not a business that you choose. Real estate is not something that you choose to be in. Real estate has to be in you. It has to be a part of you. You have to eat, breathe, sleep, and think about it and obsess about it all the time. Because if that is something that is in you all the time, what it's going to do is it's going to keep you up all the time. And if it's not something that is what drives you or motivates you or keeps you up, guess what? You can use it as a phenomenal tool. You can use it as a phenomenal tool, but you're never going to achieve the highest level of what is possible, because for you, it is something else. For you, it may be being a great piano player or a great dance teacher or a great doctor or a great whatever is something. For some people, it's like people will always have told me so many times, I'm like, well, why do you want to achieve X, Y, Z? They're like, Andrew, it's not about me. I just want to help people. I'm like, fantastic. Maybe charity begins at home and in your own backyard. And the first person that you should be charitable to is yourself. Because this is a message today that is getting lost somewhere. Everybody wants to help everybody. Well, guess what? If you are completely 100% dead broke, you're not helping anybody because you yourself need the help. The first person to fix before you help anybody else is for us to fix ourselves. And I'm not talking about, this is not a message that is supposed to be for you or somebody else. This is a message for me, because we all in our lives are at different places in our lives. See, Les Brown once said, most human beings live lives of quiet desperation and take their dreams, thoughts with them to their graves. The richest place is not the vault of a bank. The richest place is the graveyard. And the reason why he said that, and it's such a powerful statement, because what he says is that most people die with their dreams and with their thoughts and with what they wanted to do in them. And I think that is the definition of a failure. Success is not keeping up with the Joneses. Success is not what the Kardashians are doing. Success is not what somebody touts on TV. Because I am sick and tired nowadays that this used to be, I grew up this way, where not that I was programmed this way, I just used to think this way. My parents didn't say this. I would look at people that had way more than us, and I would always compare myself to what they had. And maybe some of you are not that way. I was. Not sure why. I didn't grow up in a poor family at all. But yet, I would always look at people that had more. And I would say, well, if they have XYZ, i.e. that makes me poor because I don't have XYZ. And today, it's gone from bad to worse, where every person that is on Facebook, every person that is on any social media, oh my God, they're all happy. They're living these great lives. And it doesn't matter if it's 2 o'clock in the morning or if it's 7 o'clock in the morning or if it's 12 o'clock at night. Everybody is just having this amazing, thrilling life. And then, guess what? You see somebody like Robin Williams, the person who's supposed to make everybody happy around the whole world. He himself dies of suicide because of depression. Why? Because as big of an achiever as we all feel that somebody, and as blessed as we feel looking at somebody like Robin Williams, who had everything in the world that we know of, clearly there was something, there was a quiet desperation in him that none of us know, and that he struggled with. And so my question about, as we talk about success and failure, is that success is based on the ability that you have been given by the universe or God, whatever your belief system is. And each of us has a different ability. My ability is not the same as yours, and your ability is not the same as somebody else's. But each of us has been given something. And if you think you haven't, then you have been born by mistake. And I don't believe that it doesn't matter if you have a belief in God or if you have a belief in universe. I do not believe that God or universe, whatever you believe in, makes a mistake of that magnitude. Everybody has an ability to achieve something at an extraordinary level. Now, some people, we've seen examples where some people will achieve extraordinary levels of success, and you can look at them living their lives, and you're like, oh my God, they're just having a time of their life doing what they love to do. And for some of them, for a very, very, very few picked of them, they're able to take that message and share with the humanity or the world. But for most of us, we're not going to reach millions of people. Let's just be honest. But there are people we have all met that maybe from the outside don't have everything, but yet they have a they have some peace about them. I think success is not about chasing what somebody has. Success is not about 2 houses, 10 houses, 20 houses, 50 houses. I think what success is that what is it that keeps you up at night? And are you living up to that purpose? The reason I'm recording this is because I know in 2017, there were certain parts of my life that got better. 2017, I started with the thought that I was going to get in better health. I got in better health. I did a lot of things way better in 2017, personally, on the health perspective, than I was doing the years before. But yet, I feel that on business end, that I did not live up to my own expectations, not somebody else's expectations, not what somebody else thought in my office or somebody else thought that I should be doing. See, because it's easy to fool other people with, oh, look what I did, or look what I have. The hardest person to fool is your own self when you look in the mirror. And I felt that the reason I wanted to do this recording was that I feel the first part of this message is for me. And that is that I felt I was trying to fool myself because I wasn't living up to that level. And I'm clear 100% That if none of us, the common saying nowadays is, well, you should live it all out or give it 100%. No, none of us can give it 100%. It's not possible. It's because we're human. So we can't always live out 100% all the time. That's not how people can survive. But yet, when you're in that journey of living and aspiring and growing, I think that process is what is success. The reason I'm recording this is what I felt going from 2017 and 2018 in terms of business, that this year everything was coasting pretty smooth. We had good results last year. We had a little bit better results this year, but I really, on my own personal business, I did not push the edge in terms of being able to express this message, in terms of houses, in general growth. I feel that I'm the first person who needs to listen to this message, because the question is, am I doing it for myself? So the definition of success is, are you living up to the potential that you have? And the definition of failure, as far as I'm concerned, is if you're not living up to that, or if you're not working in that particular process, then you are a failure. You're not a failure because how much stuff you've achieved. The question is, are you on the journey? In the next segment, specifically, we're going to address the 11 things that I feel that separate people in real estate who succeed versus fail. I wish you nothing but a great next year to you.